That's what they was saying, like I ever left. I was focused and waiting, patiently embracing, I administer pain. You can see the scope unless you missing my aim. The world took.
What's poppin', y'all? It's your boy D-Mark, aka D-Ron. So today I'm back with another video. Today I'm gonna be checking out 5 reasons WWE was forced to go PG. The only number one I can think about of why WWE went PG is the Chris Benoit tragedy back in 2007. It was because so they don't make sure that something like that doesn't happen again. I think that's the only reason. To me, that's the only reason how was WWE went PG for that. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be in this clip. Before we get into things you haven't already yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click on notifications, cause I will be posting every single week. And let's get straight into these.
Hey everyone, on today's video we're going to go over 5 important reasons why WWE became PG in 2008. There is a lot to this story, things that have never been reported before, and I will go into depth into this massive cultural shift in World Wrestling Entertainment. So let's go. So WWE went from TV 14 to PG officially in July 2008. At a meeting that included some impromptu comedy from Vince, WWE management advised their talent of the changes to their television programming. Taken from the July 24, 2008 edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The official move to tamer programming and being a kids-oriented promotion came on 7/23, as WWE announced all of its programming will be rated PG instead of the former TV 14 rating for some of the later airing shows. The company says the shows won't become tamer, but they will focus more on characters and storylines and less on attention-getting stunts. The thought process behind this is the attempt to make the shows more kid-friendly. The focus on making the programming more kid-friendly leads us to reason number 1 for the change. That being advertising. Vince was allegedly obsessed for years with the company's inability to get ad sponsors from the major auto companies. For years, major companies turned up their noses at professional wrestling. Even though to this day, WWE is among the most watched properties on cable television, it only earns a fraction of the advertising dollars other sports receive. This despite the fact that WWE programming is consistently drawing bigger television audiences than the NHL, MLS, and even NASCAR. Though it's taken a while, there is evidence that WWE programming has garnered more respect from the advertising industry, and major brands like Snickers and KFC being recent partners shows this. Number 2. In my previous video, Did Vince McMahon Save UFC? The real story behind Season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter, I go into detail about the rise of UFC. Reason number 2, and how WWE in 2005 actually helped UFC become a staple in American professional sports. With the sudden rise of the MMA promotion, young men flocked to the Ultimate Fighting Championships in droves and were subsequently becoming less interested in WWE. Though the fan base may seem completely different, in this era there was much more crossover, and it was considered a rite of passage to move from WWE to the real UFC. It would then make sense for World Wrestling Entertainment to, instead of competing with UFC in the 18 to 34 male fan base, to instead cultivate a younger, newer audience that could latch on to WWE programming at an early age and become lifelong fans. Many older WWE fans began watching when it was WWF back in the 80s, the last time Vince forayed into PG television. Number 3, Chris Benoit. Remember, this transition came 1 year after the Benoit murders in June 2007. World Wrestling Entertainment was still dealing with the effects of this tragedy and was desperate to change as much as they could and not remind fans of the recent past. A product that continued to be more risque and pushing the envelope after such a tragedy is not the image WWE wanted. Instead, they wanted parents and advertisers to know World Wrestling Entertainment programming was for the whole family and something everyone could enjoy. Number 4, the Ruthless Aggression era sucked. Though fans today often point to the Attitude Era as the reason for WWE's lack of popularity and long for the days of the beer-swilling Steve Austin to be on their televisions every Monday night, think of this. The Attitude Era died at WrestleMania 17 in 2001. For the next 7 years, to recapture the magic they had in the late 90s. Hot lesbian action, Katie Vick, and bringing back stars like Steve Austin to serve as general manager of Raw. Despite their best efforts, WWE had been declining in popularity every year since 2001. This graph illustrates the slow decline in this viewership. World Wrestling Entertainment needed to freshen things up and was often going back to a tired, dated formula that lost its magic in early 01. Number 5. SmackDown was already PG. Since its inception in 1999, SmackDown was always rated PG television and considered the family-friendly version of WWE programming. In the early 2000s, SmackDown was carried by a massive Hispanic audience, with families tuning into the feud between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. With one brand already considered to be family-friendly programming, it didn't take long for WWE to realize that advertisers and parents wanted consistency in the product. That is all for today, everyone. My name is Tom Francesco.
Yeah, so some stuff in this video does make sense of why the show was forced to go PG. My main recent thing about the video was just the Chris Benoit situation. Back in 2008, the entire Chris Benoit situation was just incurred. And literally, there was supposed to be a main show in Corpus Christi, Texas that night where they literally, WWE traveled different places to different arenas of different shows. Apparently, Vince announced that Chris Benoit's entire family are dead. So they don't really know that the whole entire circumstances of that. But literally everybody, I think before the show started, I think everybody, Vince, I think he announces about the Chris Benoit situation, about his family and stuff, that they announced that he died. I think that's only known. And I actually did watch the documentary story of Dark Side of the Real Chris. I think it was Eddie. Eddie and Chris was literally best friends throughout in WCW and WWE. And I think that's what it was with Chris, because Eddie and Chris were literally best friends and after that, Chris literally has not been the same after Eddie passed away. In a recent part, I think it was Vicky Guerrero said, I don't know who said this, but I think Chris went to Eddie's house and I think he was on his bed and he was crying. He was crying so much because I think at that point losing a best friend can be a hard thing that you meant for so many people, that you meant a lot throughout the whole years. Rather, if you was in in elementary and middle school or high school or something like that, or even outside of those things, Chris meant a lot of things to Eddie, and I think that's what it was. It got to a point of him that I don't know why he chose to do this, of why he killed his wife and his family, and I think that's what it is. And the only thing about that, and I can't imagine doing this to my family, just kill them for no reason. I would never do that. Outside of wrestling, I would never even think of doing that. But about Raw being PG, from back in the day being PG, I literally did not know about that. The only thing I just remember is just watching the show, and I didn't even know SmackDown from back in the day was PG. I didn't even know that. But the only thing I had to disagree about this video in the ending was the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. Literally, both of them was so popular. Even the Attitude Era was Stone Cold. After the show, he will just come out drinking his beer, and then he will just he's just entertaining to watch. Even though I did not know who Stone Cold was from back in the day, I still watched most of his clips from his matches with The Rock, Mankind, The Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, all these legendary wrestlers from back in the day. But I still knew who Stone Cold Steve Austin was from back in the day, because the man was so iconic, legendary, best stars in the Attitude Era that year, just in the early 90s. But I don't know what he said about Ruthless Aggression being being not that great. Honestly, to me, it was great. Even though they changed the WWF to WWE, but the things that WWE can't do now, they can't do inappropriate things because there's literally children around, which that makes sense. That segment with I remember one segment that Eric Bischoff announced the lesbians to come down to the ring, and then 3-minute warning, which is also Jamal, Rosie, and they attacked them, and then they rush out to the ring. They pretty much attacked them. But they, from back then, the old back then till now, you can never do that now. You can never do that. WWE will never even try or even let somebody go away. They can never get away from stuff like this now. Because this is 2021, man. They can't do stuff like that now. But anyways, if y'all like this video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And also follow me all social medias down below. I'll be back with another video. Peace.